Hi everybody, my name is Robin and welcome to my channel, Bird's Eye Stitches. This is a channel about cross stitch, so if you are new here, then welcome. Hopefully you are here because you have a love of cross stitch like I do. And if you are returning, then still welcome. You are clearly here because you have a love of cross stitch just like I do. Today is Sunday. It is January 25th. It's probably going to be a short video, but that's okay because I committed to weekly videos as long as I'm not traveling. And so here we are, weekly video, because 2026, all about the consistency. All right, so we have the notes and plans book where I have written down a couple of comments from my last video, so I wanted to highlight just a couple of things. So first up was Stitchin' with Lou, who comments on my videos fairly regularly. She had asked, actually 2 videos ago, which fabric I had stitched Dirty Annie's I Love My Cat on. So I did go back in my videos, and first of all, I had no idea that I had stitched that so long ago. My dog's eating and drinking, as usual. Anyway, I did not realize I had stitched that so long ago. I literally had to go back in my videos a full year, like a whole year, just to find the dang fabric. But I did. So I stitched that on a piece of 36 count linen by Fortnite Fabrics in the color Pardon Me. Now, Fortnite Fabrics, they do not currently dye fabric, which is a shame. I know, they're not together and don't do fabric anymore, but their fabric was fantastic. I was part of their monthly fabric club back in the day. Then I always used to order the packs of fabric that they would have, like they'd have like Thanksgiving packs and Christmas packs, and if they were selling it, I was buying it because I love their fabric. It is extremely good quality and just really pretty colors. So if you can find that anywhere, it is a great piece. I have some left, probably not enough to do that size of a piece, but I do have some left that I'm going to hang on to because I'm sure I'll find a small or something like that to put on it. But again, that was called Pardon Me 36 count linen by Fortnite Fabrics. Next up, I'm going to highlight 2 Flosstubers that I have been watching that also commented. It's like a 2-for-1. So first one was McKenna. Hi McKenna from 1884 Stitchery. So McKenna has an online shop, 1884 Stitchery, you couldn't guess. She is local in Arizona, and her Instagram name, which I am never on, but her Instagram name is, I think it's Stitching in Sequins, with sequins, in sequins, something like that. But I had met McKenna in person at the attic years and years ago, like pre-2020, when I used to go to the attic's stitch-ins. They had a Thursday night, I'm pretty sure it was Thursday night stitch-in, and I remember when McKenna came in, she was so nice to me. I was fairly new, not new to the hobby, but new to going to like a group stitch-in, just getting started with Flosstube, all the things, and she was super nice then. She's still extremely nice, and I didn't realize that she was still filming, but she is. So check out her channel. She stitches the most fun projects, truly stitches things that are different from the rest. So if you want to check her out, I highly recommend it. So anyway, she watched my last video, which is super exciting, and she said that when the time comes that I start stitching the Swan piece by Kathy Barrick, that she would be in for a stitch along. So I've got a couple things to finish, but I'm 100% on board to stitching those black swans in the near future. Next up was the Sin City cross stitcher. So the Sin City cross stitcher I watch all the time. I think she's in Las Vegas, I assume, from Sin City, but she stitches all kinds of stuff similar to my taste. And she commented on my last video where I showed a piece of fabric that I purchased, the Sepia Sorcery. It's a purple. I purchased that because I did not own any purple fabric, and so I figured why not. So anyway, I picked that up, and mine was a true, like, beautiful grape purple. I don't even like purple, to be honest, but that was like a Kool-Aid grapey purple, so that was super fun. But she said that she had bought the same thing, and she got hers in a 20 count. And so hers was really dark. She said that her piece was so dark it barely looked purple. I mean, I'm sure it was still gorgeous, but not like nowhere near what mine looked like. I think that that is the only downside to buying fabric online, is sometimes you don't know what you're gonna get. I mean, that obviously that it's hand dyed fabric, so it all looks different. And then Aida versus linen versus even weave, it all comes out different. It seems to me, hopefully I'm not way off on this, but it seems to me like when I get Aida, it is usually lighter than when I purchase linen. And even weave is like in the middle. So I usually stick to even weave. I like the middle, I guess. But anyway, I'd be curious to see what her fabric looks like in comparison. So that's it. I am way behind in the world of Flosstube, but that's okay. So Sin City Cross Stitcher, 1884 Stitchery. I watched a few others, but those are the ones that I wrote down. And I finally found the dang fabric name for Stitching with Lou. So hopefully you see this video. Okay, what do I have to share? I have really only 3 things. I worked on 3 things, but for a fairly long time on most of them. So a little bit of WIPs, 1 item for haul. Yeah, quick video, here we go. All right, let's get out the planner. So, I have my nice little planner here. This is the planner from My Crazy Life Lori. I swear I'm still gonna have to read the back of this thing every single time I pull it out. And I'm gonna pull it out every week or so for the whole year, but still, I'm gonna have to read the back. It's okay. All right, here's where we're at. We have a few more check marks, which is very exciting. My WIPGO board, very depressing, but we're gonna get there. I do have a bingo. Oh, sorry, my Bringo board, not WIPGO board. My Bringo board is looking a little sad. Everything is now highlighted, but only 1 bingo. That'll be my focus for this next week. Next week is all the Bringo. But what did I do this week? Let's see. First up is the piece that I stitched on for my 25/7 piece. 25/7 was created by Melanie Watkins. Hi, Melanie, from the Soulful Stitcher. She has numerous groups on Facebook, as well as a Flosstube. But the one that I participate in, sorry, I got books everywhere. The one that I participate in the most is 25/7, where the idea is you stitch for 25 minutes a day on 1 piece, or basically you just make time every single day to do a little bit of stitching. So I use the 25/7 piece. My dog says hello. Side note, she is in desperate need of a haircut. Our groomer is on vacation, so she can't get in for 2 more weeks. So that means that I get to bathe her. She doesn't love it, and she kind of looks mangy when she gets this much hair, but it is what it is. It's cold, right? She needs a winter coat, I suppose. Okay, anyway, I do my 25/7 piece for pieces that I either are a new start or close to a finish. This month was a new start, and I am stitching on Sweet Wing Studios Far Better Things. Looks like this. Turn this way so I can fit everything. There we go. Mine is being stitched on a piece of 25 count Opal Lugana in Through the Stones by Be Stitch Me. I love this fabric. It's like a perfect grayish green. It's very nice. And I am making great progress on this piece. Okay. 25 minutes a day. I'm caught up to today. We are here. Ta-da! So I decided to go, I did like the gray for the words, so I think I'm gonna stitch all the words in this gray. I might swap out 1 color for the word better. I just don't know that I love the blue. I'm not sold on the blue. Like with the green and the browns, the blue just, I don't know, don't love it. But this is where we're at. So I stitched a lot more of this wall. I started working on this gate. I would actually not have chosen this, like moving all the way over here without finishing up here. But I brought this piece with me. My husband had a doctor appointment over this past week, and I was in a hurry to leave, so I grabbed this instead of my normal travel stitching bag. And so I got into the waiting room and started to stitch and realized I had made a terrible rookie mistake. I totally forgot scissors. So what that means is, so when I'm stitching, I only pull like one piece of floss for the most part, and I just work with that one piece of floss until it's done, and then I trim another piece off of the skein. So I had to get creative because I was running low on the pre-cut colors. It was no big deal that I couldn't cut the tail of the colors as I finished them, but I did have to be creative because I only had like one piece of black. I had this color here, so I stitched quite a bit of this, but everything else I could just use what I could use because I didn't want to carry a thread all the way across the piece, and I only had a little bit left of each color. That's okay. It's still looking great. I love this piece. I'll be curious to see how far I get by the end of the month, because really, these words will stitch up fairly quick. I know I'm the worst person when it comes to how much time something will take, but fairly quick. So I'll get through these words, but I'm just gonna have like this much of the wall. I do still need to stitch this bottom part. Okay, there's this other border. Okay, so there's kind of a lot left still. I won't be finishing it this month, but maybe February, maybe March. I don't technically have this in my plans, I don't think, for February. I haven't really done all my planning for February, so we'll see. But still, I am really pleased with the progress that is being made during 25/7. I know we're just in January, but still, very excited for that. Okay, next up, I'm missing a card. I'll find it when I regather. But all right, next up, I stitched on the piece from the WIPGO call. So for WIPGO in the month of January, they called number 2 and number 7. Number 2 was Spring Forest Scrapbook, which I showed either last video or the video before that. I do 500 stitches is my goal for all my WIPGO pieces. So that one was already done. This last week, I wanted to work on call number 7, which was Jack Frost's Tree Farm. Now, the reason that I chose to focus on these instead of my Bringo was really just because I am also part of the group. What is that group called? It's the other challenge group. Hold on, I'll tell you. WIP Warriors. So I'm also part of WIP Warriors, and I don't have a single thread. Like, you earn this digital thread in WIP Warriors if you compete in the challenges. So I am competing in their year-long game, which is the Ozabar Stitching Adventure. So I've been putting in a lot of stitches for that, but I haven't been logging all of my stuff in the other like WIP Warriors challenges. So they had one that went on over this last week, you know, where you had to stitch to beat the Modman or something like that for a holiday piece. And Jack Frost Tree Farm fit that prompt. It was the call for WIPGO, and I needed 500 stitches in order to do that. So I got my 500 stitches. I finally have my first digital thread, which I told my husband I was all excited about my digital thread, and he stared at me like, what are you talking about? But that's okay. That's okay, because I made progress, and that means that I am magically caught up for my WIPGO pieces during the month that they called the WIPGO numbers. This never happens. Okay, anyway. All right, so Jack Frost Tree Farm. This is by Little House Needleworks. I am currently on part 3, which is called Family Fun. Looks like this. I am stitching mine on a piece of Color and Cotton's July 2020 Fabric Club in the color Requiem, and this is a 32 count Belfast. I took this out of the Q-snap because, well, I was done stitching on it for the month. See how this looks without anything behind it. We are here. So you can see that I have already finished the whole top piece, and then I'm stitching all of the parts together. So we'll have 3 in that middle row and then 3 down at the bottom. But what I started on this last week was actually this block in the middle. So all right, we'll get there. Let's see. Things to purchase. One of those cool boards to show people. All right. So I was super excited. I got this border done. It all matched up. I believe we're good. It's on the same row here, here, and it looks like I'm gonna have the exact amount of room on the far side. So super exciting when that actually works. We did, of course, some snow, the center of the big giant tree, and then I started stitching these adorable little people. How cute are those little people? Now I will say, I stitched this guy first, which I'm assuming is the dad. He's freakishly tall. Like when you really look at this, like look at how long his torso is compared to his legs. And then he's like taller than the whole bottom part of the tree. It's a little weird. Proportions are weird, but it's okay. Then we have this little guy here, little dog, cute little skirt, and I love their little scarves. They're so cute. So also I was really excited because I stitched their feet first, and it was super cute to see all the feet sitting in the snow. That was fun. But that was my 500 stitches, 511 to be exact. You have to actually count your stitches for this group, so I always have to pause my timer and then sit there and count my stitches because I don't really use the digital patterns so much, but these ones are super easy to count. So you guys will see this one again in the month of February. I took it off the Q-snap before I looked at the numbers for February for WIPGO, and for February the numbers were, oh, I didn't write down the numbers, but one of them is Jack Frost Tree Farm, and the other one is Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow. So apparently February is gonna be like the big old prim looking Christmas pieces, because both this one and Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow are kind of prim. They're both, this one's not that big, but obviously Hawk Run Hollow is ginormous, and all I have done on that one is like this much of the first square. So you'll see both of those next month. Okay, so quite a few stitches on my 25/7, quite a few stitches on Jack Frost Tree Farm. The last thing that I have to show you was the one and only piece that I worked on for WIPGO. Now, WIPGO, if you're not familiar, that is a month-long pop-up challenge that we do. My friend Carolyn Zook, Carolyn from Zook Stitch, we co-run a group on Facebook called the Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge. Every month we have an acrostic and a theme, and then we do pop-up challenges every month, or most months I'd say. In the month of January we have a month-long one, WIPGO. We do 25 prompts, 1 hour or 100 stitches for the most part every day. And at this point, because it is the 26th, we have now called all of the squares. So we have 5 days of catch up, which means all of my stitching short of 25/7 had better be spent on WIPGO because, well, because I was a slacker for half this month. But we'll get there. So I have one sole little bingo. This bingo here was done because I did my 100 stitches on From Velvet to Linen by Kathy Barrick, which is right here. will eventually look something similar to this, although I realized that this model was stitched in NPI silks. Mine is stitched in the DMC alternatives, which are not super close. So it'll look something like this. Okay, let's see. How does this go? It goes like this. You can see these colors are a lot brighter. I did my 100 stitches right here, filled in the inside of the light pink of this flower. So this is on my WIPGO board 5 times. The next prompt that I'm going to be working on for this is actually in the prompt that says to find a piece you need to frog or something green. I need to frog this piece. This color here is nowhere near the color of that yellow flower. It is way too dark. And although it's pretty, it just blends in too much with the outline, and I think that overall, when it's far away, it's just not gonna pop the way I want it to. So I am going to frog for that prompt and take all of this stuff out. This piece is also going to be a gift, so it's on the board, and yeah, so you will see this next week. I still have 4 prompts with this, so this is gonna get quite a bit of stitching over this next week. My piece is stitched on another Fortnite fabrics. Like I said, I own a lot of Fortnite. Truly love their fabric. It is in the count, or the count of 28, a 28 count even weave in the color Deep Fried. This is probably one of the packs that I got for Thanksgiving, where every single one of them had like a food theme, but I love it. So we are here. I am not gonna lie, I'm a little bit concerned about the size of this fabric because there is not a lot of space past this Q-snap, and I am here, and well, that is like here, right? This thing still has to jot out like 25 stitches. I thought I started in the middle. I don't know. So I'm gonna stitch this flower, and then I'm going to stitch this leaf all the way out. So I have to move the Q-snap or something. And I'm gonna see what I have for margins. If I don't have a whole lot of margins, I can deal with that. I will just get creative for framing. I just need to make sure it's gonna fit before I get too far down this whole rabbit hole. Cross your fingers. I'll report back on that because I'll probably get there during my WIPGO stitches. So, okay, that was really it. I only stitched on those 3 pieces, but lots of stitching done on 2 of the 3. So for next week, I have lots of catch up to do on WIPGO, which means you're going to see E Pluribus Unum coming out. You're going to see the Majestic Unicorn finally coming out. I know, every week I talk about it. It's coming back out. You're gonna see the Porcupine piece. I only have 1 more square to do for that one because it just got called. And then, oh, you'll see From Velvet to Linen. So lots of good stuff to do there. And then of course my 25/7 piece, you will see. Okay, for haul, I just have one thing. Let me get this one put away. All right, one item for haul. It is cross stitch related, but it is not a cross stitch piece. So you all know that I love the Goodwill, and I love to go to any of those like discount stores and whatnot. I am always looking for, of course, cross stitch stuff, but I am also always looking for frames or things for finishing because I am focused quite a bit on getting some FFOs done this year. Even if I just get 1 done a month, that is huge for me because I probably didn't FFO anything for like ever. So small attainable goals, right? I've already framed up more than at least 1 thing this last month. No, in January. So I'm on track there, but I did find another frame that was on like clearance. So I picked this one up. Try not to get too much glare here, but it's really pretty. I like the blue and gold enamel, and we got it on clearance, so you can't beat that. I don't know what I'm gonna put in here, but I feel like I have a few bird pieces that I pulled out that are in a box under my bed, and I have a couple that are smaller that might fit in this frame nicely. What I really liked about this piece is that you can actually hold the frame this way and it will stand to the side. So I'm kind of thinking I have the swan from Lindy Stitches that I picked up is a piece that I should have finished as part of the one of her online events from years ago, where I picked up the pattern and I went to the online event, but I didn't get to watch the video on how to finish it properly. And you know, my ADD or whatever, I cannot go back afterwards and just try to sit and rewatch it by myself. Not happening. So I'll probably just frame that, and I'm okay with that. But I think it'll look really good in this. So I'm going to measure that out, see what it looks like, because that piece was on a gray fabric and it had a lot of blues that I think this will pull out nicely. So stay tuned for that one. But that's it for haul. If you saw my last video, you know that I recently got a whole bunch of haul from my family, so I literally need nothing else. Does that mean I didn't buy anything else? Of course not. In fact, I just did a small order of just 2 items from Garan. One of them was the chart, Immortal. You know, the one that says buy and cross stitch like you're immortal. Literally what I'm doing right now. So I picked that one up. Anyway, you'll see it probably next week because Garan has the fastest shipping known to man, and it'll be here by then. So, all right, that is all I have for you today. It is sunny and warm in Arizona, which I am so grateful for because I know that most of you are not in sunny weather. So I hope that you are staying warm. I hope that you are being safe. I hope you are stitching, and I hope to see you next week. Happy stitching, everybody. Bye.